Hi everyone, I'm doing a little video for y'all to show you how to set up a C# MVC project using EntityFramework Core. Up here I have our Microsoft Docs up. You can see on the sidebar here to the left that there's Framework 6 and Core, and we're using Core. Big disclaimer, I don't know the difference between those two. I don't know a whole lot about EntityFramework Core, but what I do know is that it sets up your databases for you, and it uses a really cool language called LINQ that queries the databases, and so it uses a lot of built-in methods to save, delete, find, order, all those things. So it makes doing projects really simple, and there is a lot of documentation on this. Not all of it is that great. Anyways, I'm going to show you how to set up a project. We're going to do recipes based off the project I did with Jared last week. This first part of the video I'm just going to show you how to set it up, and then I think I'm going to do another video where I go a little slower and show exactly how to set up some of the controllers and views to use the new methods and interact with the database. But setting up the project and databases is really insanely easy. So we are just going to get started. And first thing is running the little shortcut code here for a new MVC project. So dotnet new MVC-n, which refers to name, and we're going to call our project recipes. And while that's loading, I just want to point out that all of this is on my GitHub under BrookZK recipes, and I'm just going to do some copying and pasting from there so that this video can go a little bit quicker, but you can reference it and make sure you're getting everything from there, or copy or whatever you want to do. Okay. Let's go into recipes, let's open it up. My computer is working real hard right now. Okay, so our project folder is just the MVC side. It doesn't have any of the testing folders, so just keep that in mind. I wouldn't mess with any of the things that you have here right now. And in the models folder, you're going to find error view model. Just leave that as it is. The first thing that we're going to change, we don't have to change anything for the startup or the program. Just leave that as it is. What we are going to do is we're going to add two packages to our recipes.cs proj. I'm going to go ahead and grab those from my GitHub. So the first package is EntityFramework Core.design. The second one is MySql Data EntityFramework Core. So grab both of those and put them there. Next, we are going to create our models. The first one we are going to do is the model for our database. So in the models folder, we're going to create a model file, model.cs. And in here, we are going to put all sorts of information about our database. And I'm going to come back over here to grab that model. So, at the top, we are doing two using statements, system collections generic for our lists, and whatever else. And then Microsoft Entity Framework Core at the top. Our namespace is going to be our project name.models. That's pretty usual. And this file is creating a class called recipe context, and it is a database context. This is what sets up the database. Down here we have a method that essentially connects to the database, gives it a name. Our database name is going to be recipes, and it puts in the username, password, and port, and all of that, in the server, of course. Right here, these are going to be the names of our tables within our database. The first one we're going to have is a recipes table, and it takes the object of recipe, or the class object of recipe. So this is referring to the model that we'll later or very soon create, and then this is the table name. So that just goes down the line. The model name is category, the table name is categories, model name is ingredient, the table name is ingredients, model name join, table name join. And so this is the file that sets up the database. And before we can actually run the code to set it all up, we need to create each of those models that we referenced here. So the first one we will do is recipe. And this is the same as we've seen. This. So all that we need right now is that. We have our class. We're of course using system link at the top. That's important. And then the entity framework as well as system and system collections generic. We're using the same namespace. We're calling our class name, and we're giving it 3 properties. And we're using the shorthand get set method. So our 3 properties are name, instructions, and ID. And that is all you need. So moving on, we're going to do, I guess we'll do category now, category.cs. And I'm going to come back here and grab that. Delete this for now. And our category is going to have a name and ID, same thing going on. We're calling system.link, we're calling the entity framework, and then the system collections. Their namespace is always the same, category class, 2 properties with the shorthand get set. And then next we are going to do ingredient.cs. And here I am going to grab that. And same here. Ingredient's going to have 3 properties: name, description, ID, get sets, namespace, recipe models. Same. And our last one, I believe, is going to be our join table. So we're actually going to have a join model for it. So every table in our database has a corresponding model. And here is the same thing. We list our join class, we list the properties, we list the namespace, the usings, and that is all we need. And with that change to the recipes.cs proj, with the creation of model.cs where we created our recipe context, and our reference to the database we're creating, and then with the creation of all of our models down the line here that are model.cs references, we have everything we need to go ahead and create the database. So there's two commands you're going to want to run. The first one is .net EF, standing for EntityFramework, migrations, add InitialCreate. And this is going to take a second, so don't hold your breath. It took like 3 whole minutes last time, which feels like forever, especially in a video. I think if all goes well, I'll be uploading this video to YouTube and sharing that way. So, in the comments of that YouTube, I plan to write down these commands. So look for it there. Okay, done. To undo this action, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we did it. So the next command we're going to run is .net EF database update. And this takes a little less long. We'll see. Sweet. And with that, we can get our MAMP running, which the servers are started. We're going to open up that web page. And you should see in your little nav bar here, you have a recipes database with all of the tables that we created, and each one has all the properties, which is just really incredible. So that is how you do it. I hope that was clear. You can download recipes at my GitHub. All the information will be up there. And yeah.